Hey, thank you, Chairwoman Stevens, and it's great to join you from the other end of I-75. It's sunny and beautiful. I'm joining you from the headquarters of NASCAR, but just down the street from Embry-Riddle University, which has also benefited greatly from NSF grants, and really look forward to having the president of Embry-Riddle join us for our next hearing, Dr. Butler. So I want to thank Dr. Pachanathan and Dr. Ochoa as well for your participation today. Looking forward to hearing your testimony and thoughts on where the future of the NSF is headed. As we all know, but I think it's always worth restating, since its creation in 1950, the National Science Foundation really has served a unique role among federal agencies, given its broad mission. I think it's worth quoting of, quote, promoting the progress of science to advance the national health, prosperity, and welfare, and to secure the national defense, end quote. So in bringing this mission to life, NSF supports basic research, fuels major technological innovations, including smartphones, GPS, internet, new research disciplines, supports and trains generations of scientists and engineers that are critical for our future economy and for our national defense. The investments in science and technology truly are drivers of economic growth. Numerous studies have concluded as much as 85% of the long-term growth in America's economy is attributed to advancements in science and technology. And for decades, America has led the world in science and technology innovation. But as the pace of innovation is accelerating, global competition, we all know, has increased. And the United States, to be completely candid, is losing its edge. The Chinese Communist Party poses an especially formidable and growing strategic challenge to our way of life and to American leadership around the world. Today, the U.S. is really at an inflection point. And it's crucial for us to make strategic investments to build up our R&D enterprise. I think there is absolutely bipartisan agreement to that point. There is momentum on both sides of the aisle to make these investments, but it must be done in a realistic and sustained way. I am proud to be an original co-sponsor of the NSF for the Future Act with Chairwoman Johnson, Ranking Member Lucas, Chairwoman Stevens. This bill increases funding for fundamental research, improves STEM education and research training. It creates a new directorate, as Chairwoman Stevens mentioned, creates a new directorate in S&T within the agency. But most importantly, it does not detract from the agency's core mission of advancing basic scientific knowledge. So we agree we must make these investments, but I just can't emphasize enough, we must also secure taxpayer-funded research and technologies from adversaries, especially from the Chinese Communist Party. And while the NSF for the Future Act includes some provisions to increase research security, I look forward to working with Chairwoman Stevens. I appreciate her collaboration on this, and Chairwoman Johnson, to build upon these provisions and to improve best practices, to provide tougher safeguards to prevent research theft and foreign influence. Our federal agencies, like the NSF, also need the tools and authority to reject grant applications from known participants in malign foreign talent recruitment programs. Those authorities are absolutely critical, and I look forward to working with you on that. In addition to my work in this committee, I also serve on the Armed Services Committee and regularly receive intelligence on the Chinese Communist Party and how they are leapfrogging the U.S. Technologically and militarily through intellectual property theft. We cannot allow the CCP to advance its authoritarianism on the backs of American taxpayer-funded research. I'm encouraged that Democrats on both committees share these concerns, and they have an interest in addressing undue foreign influence, as illustrated by the April 9th letter, which I thought was fantastic, from Chairs Johnson, Smith, Stevens, and Langevin to President Biden. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses how the foundation is addressing the challenges of research security, how we can build upon Congress's previous efforts to safeguard America's IP and confront the CCP's wholesale theft of our research institutions. As we make these investments, we must continue and should also ensure we avoid duplicating the R&D activities in other federal agencies. As part of the president's recent $2.3 trillion infrastructure proposal, more than $200 billion is tagged for research and development focused activities, but there really isn't a clear directive for how these funds will be used or coordinated. The president is messaging this as a way, this $200 billion as a way to compete with China, but I would argue that we will not beat China by copying its strategy. So strategic investments in technologies are important, but the potential of creating a one-time slush fund could end up doing more harm than good. I think instead, we should look at proposals like the Securing American Leadership in Science and Technology Act, the SALSTA Act, which creates a national S&T strategy, doubles funding for basic research across federal science agencies over 10 years, or the NSF for the Future Act, which I mentioned previously. While not a whole of government approach, this bill has been thoughtfully developed to protect NSF's core mission and more than doubles the amount of research it will support over 5 years. Both proposals include long-term planning to make investments in STEM workforce, facilities, and research needed to develop state-of-the-art technologies, though through these investments, American research, American innovations, and American workforce will continue to lead the world. I look forward to working with both Chairwoman Johnson and Stevens, Ranking Member Lucas, to move the NSF for the Future Act through the committee on a bipartisan basis and to the House floor in consideration. I also look forward to working with the leadership of NSF and the National Science Board. Again, I want to thank you both for being here, for your leadership, and for participating in this hearing. Chairwoman Stevens, I yield the balance of my time. Thanks so much.